I had always considered myself just a traveler, a wanderer drifting among the stars, delivering supplies and occasionally negotiating deals between distant colonies. I wasn't a soldier, a hero, or someone the galaxy would write songs about. But that perception changed the moment I encountered her, the woman who would redefine my understanding of courage, power, and destiny. Her name was initially a mystery. I found her collapsed near the edge of a rocky cliff on the desolate planet of Curries 4, her body battered, yet her presence impossible to ignore. Even in her weakened state, she exuded an aura of command, a silent declaration that she was someone not to be trifled with. The discovery. I had been charting a new trade route when I spotted movement on the cliffs below. Expecting perhaps a stranded scavenger or an injured miner, I approached carefully. What I saw was astonishing. The woman's hair shimmered with a metallic hue, catching the sunlight like molten silver. Her armor was cracked, scorched, and covered in dust, evidence of a battle that had left her alone on this barren planet. "Are you alive?" I called cautiously, holding out my hand. Her eyes opened, sharp and piercing, revealing a glint of defiance. "I am," she replied, her voice steady despite the pain. "And you are, fortunate, human, to have found me before the predators did." Predators? I followed her gaze to the horizon, where a pack of native beasts prowled, their glowing eyes fixed on her. My instincts kicked in, and I quickly assessed the situation. The rescue. Without hesitation, I lifted her onto my shuttle, despite her protests. "I don't need your help," she insisted, gritting her teeth against the pain. "Not a chance," I said firmly. "You're not walking through that canyon in your condition. Trust me or regret it." She was quiet after that, though her eyes never left mine. Something about the way she surveyed me, calculating, assessing, measuring my worth, made it clear that she was no ordinary being. By the time we reached my ship, I had managed to stabilize her with basic medical care. Her breathing steadied, and the tension in her body eased slightly. "You are unusually skilled for a human," she observed, her tone neutral but edged with curiosity. "I've had to survive," I replied simply, "and help those who need it." Her gaze softened for a brief moment, almost imperceptibly, before hardening again. Learning the truth. As I nursed her back to health, I noticed the subtle details that set her apart, the intricate markings on her armor, the way her eyes scanned every corner of the room as if calculating threats, the faint glow beneath her skin a sign of a power I couldn't yet comprehend. "Who are you, really?" I asked one evening, as she rested on the ship's medbed. She looked away briefly, her expression unreadable. "I am, more than you can imagine, human. But since you have saved my life, you deserve the truth." And then she told me. She was the queen of the Valerians, a species known across multiple star systems for their prowess in combat, governance, and diplomacy. Her people revered her not only for her strategic mind but for her courage in battle. To be their leader was an honor few could comprehend. I felt a mix of awe and disbelief. A queen, here, injured, alone, and on this planet. She nodded, grim. A rebellion. An ambush. I was betrayed by those I trusted. I survived, barely. And now, I rely on you. Trust and training. Over the next days, our dynamic shifted. I was no longer just a rescuer. I became her companion, her confidant, and occasionally, her teacher in human strategies and survival techniques. She was a quick study, absorbing knowledge at a speed that both amazed and intimidated me. Yet the true challenge was learning to navigate her temperament. She was fierce, proud, and stubborn, yet moments of vulnerability would surface, like when she flinched at sudden noises or winced at the slightest touch. Each day, I learned to earn her trust, understanding that for a queen, vulnerability was both dangerous and rare. "You humans are unpredictable," she remarked one morning, watching me make calculations for a navigation route. And yet, you inspire loyalty. I smiled faintly. I do what I must to survive. And help those who deserve it. Her golden eyes met mine. And do I deserve it? I hesitated, then nodded. Yes. More than you know. For the first time, her lips curved into a faint smile, a dangerous, fleeting smile that hinted at the humanity beneath the regal exterior. The threat returns. Our respite was short-lived. Intelligence from her scouts revealed that the rebels who had ambushed her were moving toward the nearby space station where I had docked. They sought to finish what they started, unaware that the Queen had survived. She rose from her med bed, already preparing her armor. I could face them alone, she said, determination radiating from her every move. I shook my head. Not alone. Not this time. Together, we strategized, combining her military genius with my knowledge of human tactics. The night before the confrontation, she confided in me quietly, her voice barely above a whisper. I have fought countless wars, she said. Yet I have never faced one like this, where survival depends on trusting someone outside my species. I reached out, lightly placing a hand on hers. Then trust me. I won't let them harm you. Her eyes softened, just enough for me to see the weight she carried, the burden of leadership, the pain of betrayal, and the rare vulnerability that few were allowed to witness. The battle. The next day, we confronted the rebel faction on the outskirts of the station. The Queen moved with fluid precision, her movements a blend of lethal grace and commanding authority. I followed closely, executing maneuvers and strategies we had devised together. Despite their numbers, the rebels were unprepared for the coordination between a human and the Valyrian Queen. Each strike, each tactical decision, was perfectly timed. Yet danger was never far, debris flew, weapons discharged, and the intensity of combat tested both of us physically and mentally. During a critical moment, one rebel attempted to flank her. I intercepted, pushing her out of harm's way. She barely registered my intervention, continuing her advance, until the threat was neutralized. Afterward, she paused, breathing heavily, and looked at me not with the eyes of a ruler, but with the eyes of someone who had come to trust completely. You saved my life again, she murmured. I shrugged, trying to appear nonchalant. Just doing my job. She shook her head, a faint laugh escaping her lips. No, human. You are doing more than that. You are earning my respect, and perhaps something even more. A new alliance. After the rebels were defeated, the Queen invited me to her ship, orbiting the station. She offered me a place beside her, not as a subordinate, but as an equal, a partner in navigating the complexities of galactic politics, warfare, and diplomacy. I have few allies who can be trusted, she said. You have proven yourself beyond what any human could be expected to achieve. And what about the crown? I asked, curiosity mingled with awe. It is mine, she replied simply, but crowns are only as powerful as those who stand beside the ruler. Stand beside me, human. I will need you. I nodded solemnly, realizing the gravity of the moment. This was no longer about survival or chance encounters. It was about trust, respect, and forging a bond that could change the course of an empire. Reflection. As I stood beside her, looking out at the stars stretching infinitely before us, I understood that my life had shifted irreversibly. The injured woman I had rescued was no ordinary alien, she was their fearless queen, a force of nature who had survived betrayal, combat, and near death. And she had allowed me to share in her journey, her trust, and perhaps, one day, her heart. In the galaxy, legends are born in the fires of adversity. I had witnessed one firsthand, and I was no longer just a human traveler. I was an ally, a confidant, and a witness to the power of a queen who had chosen to trust me when the universe itself had conspired against her. Together, we would face whatever challenges awaited, bound by respect, loyalty, and the unspoken promise that neither of us would walk alone.